You have to do the work. And it seems like it's imaginary work. Okay, cool. Think of it as imaginary work. But things start in the spirit, and then they are imprinted in your mind, and then they come out in reality. That's just how things go. Don't get mad at me. Take it up with your father, right? Welcome back to the inner circle. Hey, y'all. I missed you. I'm glad you're back here with me tuning in. My name is Nicoletta Diva, the prophetess that came to help you fix your mess. God sends me to speak with you only when He has a word for you. So I'm glad you're here. This week, we're going to be speaking about staying grounded. It's not easy. Things come and go, especially very specifically on social media. That's where we get most of our influence. And so when things come by in those 3 second intervals, because that's how long our attention span is nowadays, is it going to knock you off kilter? Or are you going to stand firm in the confidence that you have in yourself and the confidence that you have in God? In the name of Jesus, let's get right into it. This would be an attempt at true wholeness, staying grounded. And again, we are always doing these things in our mind, our body, and our soul, right? If we cannot attain calmness in our mind, but we can attain it in our body and our soul, right? It's not really going to translate the way that we want it to. We're not really going to come off as healthy as we want to be, because in reality, we're not. We are imbalanced, if you will. Um, Dealing with things in that 3-part interval, it is very close to Father, Spirit, and Son. Father is the ultimate, right? The Spirit would be conviction of the mind, right? Son, my Jesus, the one who came down here and inhabited in a human body, who knows what we went through, who experienced it firsthand, so He can say, I walked the walk with you. Yes, He's perfect, but we're not. He never said, I need you to be perfect. He said, I need you to check in. So we're always going to make sure that our mind, our body, and our spirit are level, calm, cool, and collected in every instance in our life. In those 3 second intervals, or even in those 90-second intervals, right? So the 3 seconds would be social media when you're interacting with people, because that's a split second. Things can shift within those seconds, so many seconds, that amount of time. So you kicking it with your partner, and this has happened to me so many times. You're out really just trying to get your mind off of things might not be going that well, in your interpersonal relationships, at home, at work. Not everything is coochie crunch, and so you go out and you're trying to come back to base. So that means that if the first thing that comes at you, traffic, road rage, I hate it. And in reality, if we're processing things through our mind, our body, and our soul, on a spirit level, this does not matter. Let's talk about it. The little things that pop up in our life that get us tight, that get us out of character, probably don't matter on a soul level, on a spirit level. So meaning, if you are to act on this thing that is affecting your mind or your body in the spirit with God, he just sitting there like, it's not really that big. It's not really that big of a thing. But that's why it's very important to always tap in with God, right? Source, the number one, the Holy Spirit. Tap in with him. Because yeah, your body might be flustered, yeah, your mind might be racing, but check in with your spirit, you know? We don't want to let it dampen your spirit at all. But God can help you with that. That's what prayer is for. That's why the Holy Spirit convicts your mind. So you can tap in and have that conversation in that split second. That's what it means to take everything to God, to hold every thought captive, thought, feeling, submission, anything. Take it to God. Ask him for guidance. You know what, God, I'm driving on this road and these people are pissing me off. It's okay. He hears everything that goes on. So when you start talking to him, he's not going to start judging you, you know? So always tap in with God for your spirit. But then, same instance of road rage. All right, now let's focus on your mind. Why is your mind racing? Why are you having racing thoughts? Why are you getting so amped up? Why are you so impulsive to react to this stimuli that doesn't really matter that much? As long as you are safe and everybody else is safe, right? There's no real reason to freak out. There's no real reason for your mind to go there, right? So we got to make sure that we're staying firm in our thoughts, speaking those undeniable truths. Like I said, it don't matter. So why is it bothering you so much? It's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. Why are you reacting as if you are? As if it is the end of the world. And that's another thing. When you do not check in with your spirit, and then when you do not check your thoughts, you are impulsive. You are going to react as opposed to responding. And we hate a reactionary person. Keep them away from me because I can't get down like that. You don't know how to sit and be still and come out of this thought situation, anything calm. You're a live wire. And you're going to feel that in your body. So if you are not able to keep a coochie crunch, for those who don't know, coochie crunch is cool, cooler than cool. We on tight terms, right? If you are not coochie crunch with God, if you are not coochie crunch with your spirit, making sure that your spirit is okay, making sure that you are regulated emotionally, mentally, physically, right? You're always going to react as opposed to responding. And that reaction comes from the live wires or the tension that you feel within your body. So if you can't handle your spirit and you can't handle your thoughts, your body is a electrical catastrophe, if you will. And we see that every single day. Not only on the road with road rage, with people speeding, we see that on social media. Social media is mainly where we get those 3 second exposures to other people's energy and their lives, really. We go on social media and my chair is going down. We go to social media and we see so many other people's opinions that might get us tight. I know I do. And now me, I'm an influencer. So you know I'm hearing everybody's opinion all day, every day. They just really feel as though they can speak to me. You know, tell me what they got going on. Project whatever they have going on in their life onto me, mainly through a comment section. I ain't with that. I ain't with it. And so for me personally, let's check my spirit. Let's check my spirit first. This person commented on the way that I'm dressed, right? Okay, on a spirit level, who cares? On a spirit level, everything happens for a reason, and God put me in that outfit and told me to hit record. I am obedient, indubitably obedient, correct? And delayed obedience is still disobedience, and I'm not about to be disobedient. So I'm going to do exactly what God told me to do. I'm going to show up exactly how God told me to show up. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, cool, because my spirit is aligned. Now, my mind will race. I will, as a human, have the thought of people pleasing, well, maybe I should do this, and maybe I shouldn't have did that. Ain't no maybes, because we're confident over here. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. And so we went through the mind, we went through the body. Now, I'm sorry, we went through the spirit, we went through the mind. Now, in my body, how am I actually going to handle the situation? You know, what are you going to say out that mouth with your little fingers? How are you going to respond? I hope it's a response and not a reaction. So for me, in this example, I stated an undeniable truth. If you did not agree with what I have going on, if you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't like my appearance, if you don't like the way I showed up, why did you stop scrolling to let me know? Thus allowing me and my appearance and my energy and my mindset to then further affect you. So me, I saw a situation and I processed it through my mind, my body, and my spirit. But now the other person on the other side of the situation has to do the same thing. And I'm praying that they're tapped in and aware enough to be able to do so, because I'm not here to cater to people's feelings. What they provided me was their judgment and their personal feelings, and that ain't got nothing to do with the wisdom that I chose to provide for them. So now that person, that individual, needs to check in with themselves. Are they triggered? Is their spirit aligned? Did they respond or did they react? And they need to handle themselves accordingly. And that's on Jesus Christ. And honestly, if you're taking it to your Father, you're doing the right thing. I might have made you upset enough to open your mouth, but I most definitely hope that whatever I said, whatever I did, directed you right back to your Father, and you handle it right where you're supposed to handle it. Now, that's just for me personally, but I've been seeing on social media like a lot of information about Blueface and Krishan and Drewski and Clarissa and all of these baddies. Ew, yes, and they are triggering. They're triggering. They're saying things and they're doing things that can affect you on a spiritual, mental, and physical level. And so when you're seeing this information on social media, when people are rage baiting, are you giving into the bait? Are you taking that information? Now you're processing it through the proper channels so it doesn't knock you off kilter? So it doesn't change how you view things? Because we need to be approaching these situations with undeniable truths. These people are on this platform to get money. Plain and simple. They're not really offering an encouraging word, which is okay because that's their brand, right? To each their own. But don't allow this, oh, I want to have an example, excuse me. Oh, I want to have different women on my roster, da da da. Okay. Don't allow that to affect your spirit. Thinking that, well, maybe I should give up on trying to find my divine counterpart, my kingdom spouse, because this is all men think about. Blueface is not the only man, right? So we can't use that as an undeniable truth. And so we need to align our spirit with, my person is still out there, even if everybody is acting crazy. Reassure yourself. Now in your body, you may feel the sudden urge to try to manufacture a relationship, try to manipulate your reality, try to manipulate the time that God has given you to go after something that looks good, that feels good for the moment. No, that would be considered instant gratification. We need to make sure our body is aligned with our still calm spirit, right? And then in our mind, please don't let this become the truth for you. Don't believe it. Speak those things that you know are, I am worthy. I am going to find that person. If you got to keep telling yourself, okay, because you need to make sure you're aligning with that. Don't allow these things that you see and that you hear, that we take in, become the thing that you align with. Stay true to you. Stay true to your spirit. Your spirit is connected to God, meaning you should be in consistent communication with him. Hey, Dad, I saw this on social media. This is crazy. Why am I seeing all of this stuff? You know, ask him for help. He's going to help you. Why wouldn't he? You know, now some of the things that we see on social media might not make us think about our divine counterpart. It might not make us feel as though our lives are going that great. You know, we might not be where we want to be, thus lowering our spirit. Yeah. And when we come into difficult feelings that are associated with the things that we see, we have a very specific time frame to get that handled, because we do not want to slip into depression, letting it get you down, letting it trickle from your mind, your body, all the way to your spirit. And now you have to figure out how to get your spirit back up. That is not what we want. So as you're surfing the web, as you're living your life, encountering different people, recognize that the feelings that you have in regards to any stimuli that comes into your life, that is between you and God. Only between you and God. And it's important to, again, take every thought captive, because you have 90 seconds from when you start to feel that feeling before it becomes an emotion. Now, the 90 seconds, and this is whether you recognize it or not. And that is why it is so important to be in constant communication, to be tapped in with your mind, body, and your spirit, and talking to God. Because that 90-second feeling, whether it's good or bad, if you do not handle it appropriately, if you do not anchor the things that you need to anchor into your reality for that to be categorized into the specific box, it could then turn into an emotion. So what I just said is that you have 90 seconds from whenever you start feeling a feeling, any feeling, to get it under control. Basically, that feeling needs to come up and it needs to go out within 90 seconds. If you do not, it becomes an emotion. You don't want it to become an emotion. An emotion is a trigger for you to react intensely to. So if you don't handle that feeling, it will become an intense trigger for you to act, react impulsively. We don't want that. We don't want you doing that. Acting off your emotions. Yuck. Yuck. We don't like that. I honestly don't think that's really of the kingdom, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion, and it's been a long time coming for me. But I've learned that being still and being responsive is the best approach, as opposed to being impulsive and reactionary, right? Now, with this trigger that makes you want to react intensely, if it is not handled, again, if you are not checking in with your spirit, your body, and your mind in regards to that feeling that turned into an emotion, it could turn into a mood. Excuse me. It could turn into a mood. Moods are not good because they are overwhelming. I know this all too well. Moods make you want to make drastic shifts in your life just so you can stop feeling it, because it doesn't really feel uncomfortable, however big the emotion is. Like sometimes we're so happy that we want to go and conquer the world. Unfortunately, that would be considered mania, right? And then sometimes we are so sad that we don't want to get out of bed. We don't want to talk to people. We don't want to shower. We don't want to work. Sometimes we don't want to wake up. In the name of Jesus, I hope that's not you. But if it is, that would be considered depression. Those are two very large and heavy extremes that result from you not keeping tabs on your feelings in your mind, body, and spirit, and taking it to God. Depression is a dispirited feeling that you have. Your spirit is down in the dumps. And whatever your body tells you and whatever your mind is telling you, it is not changing your spirit, man. And that is not okay, because it is your number one job to always keep God in mind. And your number two job is to always keep yourself well. And if you are dispirited, you don't have the gusto you need to live this life anymore, then you're not operating well. Now, we do experience intense emotions. We are human. I'm not saying it's not okay to have heavy feelings, right? I'm saying that we need to find a way for this depression to be turned into compression, right? It's okay to have the feeling. Something unfortunate happened in this scenario that I'm bringing up, right? All right. That is where mind, body, and spirit, we call this triangulation, but that is where mind, body, and spirit really come into play, because you need to tap back in. Do not allow yourself to be dispirited. Talk to God as many times as you need to, as often as you need to, and start gaining that strength. Speak those undeniable truths. Yeah, I might feel like crap. That doesn't change who I am. It changes how I feel in this moment. And sometimes, if I don't handle my feelings, this can become an intense trigger for me. That is something you need to recognize and tell yourself, you're being triggered right now, and that is okay. But how do you get yourself back to baseline, which is being content? How is that done? How is that possible? This is where also you should be using, I believe it's called an action plan. Have a list of things that you do to get you into a very specific state, wellness, right? So for me, when I first started doing things like this, I wrote it out. I made a vision board, I made a rejection plan, and I made an action plan. And I wrote it out and I put it on my wall. So it is the first thing that I see. When I wake up in the morning, and if I don't feel like this, if I'm not feeling super great, I do this, that, and a third. And it is right there so I can see it and I can visualize it. When I am feeling down in the dumps, this is what I do. This, that, and the third. And make that plan, and don't you change it. Stick to that plan. Work your system. So when we have these heavy, intense emotions, we can properly compartmentalize them. There is a way to compartmentalize in a healthy manner. And that is what you're doing here, basically. Speak to your spirit man. In the name of Jesus, your spirit man, God. Speak to him until you feel confident enough to speak to your own mind. Stay in the spirit until you feel as though you are safe in your head. Sometimes it gets unsafe in there. I ain't gonna lie. We're humans and our mind just goes places sometimes. Those are called impulsive thoughts. But check them. Speak to yourself the way you're supposed to be spoken to in your head. And then believe it. Embody it. Feel it in your body. Wish it, want it, do it. Feel it in your body. And then you will start to see significant changes. Now, again, this is for your mood that turned into depression. So you will start to see brighter days. The weight will stop feeling so heavy. It will get easier. But if you're just expecting for it to happen just like that, it'll never happen. Let's be honest. You have to do the work. And it seems like it's imaginary work. Okay, cool. Think of it as imaginary work. But things start in the spirit, and then they are imprinted in your mind, and then they come out in reality. That's just how things go. Don't get mad at me. Take it up with your father, right? So take it up with your father. Get in that spirit. Get on your knees and pray. You don't have to get on your knees to pray. You can pray any way you want. But get with God so you can lift your spirits. Do not be dispirited. And we can do this by checking our feelings within 90 seconds of them coming. And we check them through our spirit, our body, and our mind. Now let's hop over to the other side. You're feeling a little crazy. You're having a little mania. You're feeling like you could conquer the world. Some of your ideas are unrealistic. Some of your ideas are out of touch with reality. You wanting to take over, because you know me, I am an entrepreneur. And so I have multiple parts of my business. And sometimes thinking that you're going to be the biggest thing, the hottest thing, can take you out of reality. Yes, it's good to dream, and it's good to dream big, but please be realistic. Have a plan, right? Number one, if you're feeling super duper duper excited in your spirit, okay, that's going to come out in the body somehow. So you need to take a moment to actually relax. Relax your spirit. Be still. Of course, always ask God for that guidance. And then in your mind, what are you thinking about? You're probably having racing thoughts. Why don't you try writing those thoughts down and seeing, hey, is this something that I can do today? Or is this something that I can do in the next 30 days or in the next 90 days? Categorize it. If it's not something that you can do today, you need to make a plan to get there within the next 90 days and stop thinking you could take over the world by yourself on the spot. Because I've been manic before. It's a very common feeling, actually. It's just not categorized the correct way, It is definitely being inspired, It is definitely having a surge of energy, but it has to be handled in the correct capacity. So make sure you are speaking those realistic truths. Hey, this is a very good idea, but I need to plan more. This is a very good idea, but I need to get more finances. I'm not going to make $1 million today. So how about we go back to the drawing board? So in essence, when you're manic, a lot of planning, a lot of slowing down, a lot of being still, a lot of listening to your thoughts, listening to what you're saying, listening to how you're feeling. Because that mania, once it gets to your body, is going to feel very electric. You got all this spiritual energy, you got all these good ideas, and your body just wants to go. No. We're going to be still and we're going to be calm. If you are taking all of these steps when you are feeling super electric and super energetic, right? These things will help you calm down. I know when I'm feeling very inspired, I love to get a notebook and make a list. Because, sister, you're moving too fast. You're just moving a little too fast. Now, don't get me wrong. It's good to have good ideas. It's good to start. It's good to try, but within your means. So my advice, I don't know, you probably ain't asked for my advice, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. My advice, if you are feeling manic, get that notebook, write down those ideas, and then do every free thing on that list you can do. And this list needs to be detailed. Your mind already going a mile a minute, right? We can make a couple extra bullet points, right? And have a detailed list. and do everything on that list that costs $0 or that's closest to $0, right? Because also when we're manic, we love to spend that cash money. I know I felt like a big baller shot caller. Okay. Spending beyond my means, trying to have projects done, right? And of course, I was doing something, but I was doing it out of order and I was wasting money. So I had to check in with my God, with my spirit. I am feeling energetic because I'm getting a burst of energy to be able to do something. But that doesn't mean start running as fast as you can. Sometimes that burst of energy is to assist your mind in making the plan. Is to keep you going in this mundane activity at the time. Mania hates mundane. We trying to get active. I'm trying to pop bottles on the top of the building. You know what I'm saying? And that's not okay. Sometimes the mundane is required. Mundane sometimes means consistency. Mundane sometimes means comfortability. And by golly, Miss Molly, if your dad wanted you to be a little comfortable while you reach your goals, take it, use it. Stop throwing yourselves into these crazy extremes because you're impatient and you don't want to take stock in how you're feeling on a whole level. You know, I've come a very, very long way in regards to my dreams, right? I've always had these dreams. You don't wake up one day and say, hey, I want to be a prophetess. That sounds cool. That sounds funky and fun. No, because it's not fun. It's fulfilling, it's work, but it's not so much fun as it is prophecy. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So those feelings that I have, those ideas that I have, those dreams that I have are very much so possible. And it's definitely within the realm of my work, but it needs to be planned out more. It needs to be stable. It needs to be firm. I need to have my roots planted deep, lapidus. Be strong. Be stuck to the ground like cement, Lapidus is Latin for strong, solid like a rock. And so that's how I do it. That's how God recommends you do it. He's not asking you to give up your free will. That's the whole point of this. You have free will to check in with him when you need it. He's advising you that sometimes maybe you need to do it on a 90-second basis. Sometimes you need to do it on a 3-second basis after every video. This would be breaking down discernment in a 3-part way, because he is going to give you the discernment. He is going to give you the guidance. He is going to give you the wisdom. He is going to give you the nudges, but that's only if you ask for it. That's only if you're checking in with your spirit first and saying, hey, I'm a little confused. Hey, I have this feeling. It seems right, but it doesn't look right. Help me. From there, he'll speak to your mind. Well, what you thought? You thought you was going to have all them thoughts just running around? He ain't going to try to speak to your mind? He ain't going to try to help you with those thoughts? Categorize them? What's important, what's not? What can you do today? What can you do in the next 30 days? What can you do in the next 90? Right? And then that will help you regulate your body. That will help you feel calmer. You don't feel as erratic, or you won't feel so numb. Sometimes we have a numbness to the dreams and aspirations that we have because we've been so despirited. And God doesn't like either. He wants you happy. He wants you calm. But most importantly, he wants you stable, grounded. you know? I love you so, so much. I love everything that I do. I'm glad that I got to be the prophetess that helps you fix your mess today. And if you ever, ever, ever are looking for somebody, if you ever need somebody who is going to keep it 100% funky with you, come find me, Nicoletta Diva, and I'll do it. I'll see you next time.